In this video, I'm going to show you how I set up my effects in Cubase, and at the same time, I'm also taking a load off of my computer. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. And what I'm going to show you in this video, you can do in pretty much any other DAW. It's not just for Cubase, you would just set up slightly different in each DAW. And it is a great way to take a load off your computer so it can perform better while you're mixing. So we're going to get right to it, but before we do, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, it helps the channel grow a ton. Also, if you want to continue to support the channel, there are links below to a bunch of the gear that I use in my studio. If you use any of those links, it helps support the channel as well. All right, now to the computer. All right, so here we are in Cubase. And what I've done is I've went ahead and imported a song that I worked on in the summer of 2022. And I just went into that project and exported the stems with no EQ, no compression or anything like that on it that was in the box. So it's pretty flat across the board. I'm gonna play a little bit for you, I'll kick to the chorus. And right now there's no mixing done on it. Everything's mono down the middle or stereo. And everything is just at 0 unity on the mixer. So this is what it sounds like right now. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Guitars are right in the middle. So one of the things I like to do early on in the process when mixing or working on songs, I like to set up effect sends, things that I know I'm going to use, such as reverbs and delays. So you can go in here, for example, go to Insert, add a delay. So for example, I love Valhalla Room, and you can do this for each track. If you do that, you really start to put some wear on your PC, your CPU, and it'll just start to perform worse and worse. Now, if you have a super high-end computer, you probably don't need to worry about it much. But if you have anything else, it might be a good idea to keep in mind of keeping your CPU happy during mixing, because then you can avoid glitches, and it'll just run so much better. And I'll show you some other advantages of doing it this way. So first things first, I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So we'll start with guitar. So one thing I like to do, and if you've seen some of my other videos, I've talked about this before, is I like to create a scene in my head when it comes to mixing. So if I imagine this band is playing in a room, what does that room look like? And I'm going to try to have the reverb match that. So for this track, it's kind of like a rock indie acoustic vibe. So I'm gonna imagine I'm setting the drums up and the guitar amp, things like that, in a large wood room, a live room basically. So what I wanna do with that is, let me name this quick, is down, and this is how you do it on Cubase. You can do it differently on different DAWs, but what I do here is I right click, add effects track, and I go in here, it looks like it's already defaulted to that, and I add an effects track. So what I then do, let me pull up a sound I want. Let's go wood room. That'll get us where we need to go. Okay, then put that over there. Still, you're not gonna hear it on anything. Right, so what you need to do is you need to go to your track. So for example, I'm gonna start on guitars. I'm going to then go to sends. So then basically what I'm doing is I'm running one plugin. I'm not running two, for example, guitar 1 and guitar 2. I'm just running one reverb. So you can already see how it's going to make the computer happier. So you go to here, sends, click reverb, then I turn it on. So let me turn this all the way down, solo this guitar, and show you what it sounds like with and without. So that's how you set that up. And now you notice the reverb is stereo. So let me just kind of mess with this guitar a smidge here. So let me solo it. So if you notice, when you then pan it left and right, the mono guitar is going to a stereo plugin, so you're going to get some of that fill in the other side. It's not going to just follow, the reverb's not going to just follow that signal wherever it goes per se. You can set up a mono effects channel, which there's times where that's absolutely the way to do it. This is what I like to do to kind of create a feel. Some of my tracks I work on, I have a reverb effects channel for mono and stereo reverb, depending on what I'm trying to get out of it. So anyway, that is how you set up that portion of it. Now let me show you an advantage of why sometimes it's better to set up it as an effects channel versus an insert, other than just saving some CPU load. So if I go in here and set up the same thing, same effect, let's see if I can cheat a little bit here. Copy that, paste there. So, okay, it's the exact same setup. One of it is the stereo effects channel, and the other one is an insert on the guitar. So take a listen. Notice how they sound very different? So one thing you'll need to do, basically think of this mix. There's a rough way of thinking about it. Again, if you already know how to do this, you know what I'm talking about. So think of this mix. You're gonna have to control this mix if you set it as an insert. So there you go. Now you have a little bit of reverb on that guitar channel if you're using an insert. But notice you lose the stereo sound of the reverb when you set it an insert on a mono track. So here, listen to it again. Now if you go over here, if I take that insert off, turn the send back on, you get that stereo sound of the reverb. Okay, I like that sound. Like I said, sometimes you don't want it, you don't need it, but I like it when I'm doing mixes. So let me get rid of this. Now let me show the other advantage of doing it this way. So again, we're working just the one plugin. So we have two guitar amps in the same room. I'm gonna go here to the second guitar. I'm gonna go to send. I'm gonna send it to the reverb as well. Now you've got guitar 1 and guitar 2 both going to the same reverb, the same sound in that room, and this is what it sounds like. Without. With. Let me pan the second guitar, left a little bit. Now you're starting to see kind of the advantage of that. So, and then you can set other things to it. So right now I've got the one room reverb plugin. I've got both guitars going to it. Right? Just a little bit. You can hear on the stop. You can hear that reverb. So another thing I like to do recently, especially, is I like to put on the bass guitar as well. So if I solo that out, come in here, and I go to send, toss on the reverb. Of course, that's way too much because I'm imagining that bass cab being in that room with the rest of the band. Just a kiss of it to kind of give it more, kind of fills out the whole room. Again, this is all working off the one reverb effects channel down here. Again, this would have been 3 different reverbs, all very mono sounding reverbs, but since I'm setting them up as a stereo effects send, sounds more lush, sounds larger. Now let's look at the drums. So with these drum samples, let's take a listen real quick. This is what working with the drum sound. Of course, this is going to sound all out of whack, not mixed at all. Real tight sound. So what you can do again with this, because we already have it on there, let's put on the snare. Let's add a little width to the snare here. Again, this is going to vary from song to song, track to track, everything like that. So this is just an example of what you can do. So let's toss it on here. Solo that all out. Now you got a little reverb on your snare. Same reverb that's on all the other tracks using that one plugin. You can get away with all kinds of stuff. You could, if maybe the room sound you're not liking, you want to add a little more, you do the same thing going here. Whoop, toss there. Can I gotta do this? Soloing everything. You can make the room much more reverbery. There's another way you can do this where you put all of the drums on a group channel and then add the effect to that, but I don't like doing that because I want to be able to individually control the amount of send that's coming from each drum. So for example, I'm going to want a different level of snare reverb than I want with a room or a tom or hi-hats or kick, anything like that. So I prefer to do it this way, but you can also do effects on group channels, but that's a different subject for a different day. So another thing real quick, I'll show you. We're going to add another effects channel. Another thing I like to do it on is delays. So let me just pull up a Cubase delay here. I've been really liking the ping pong delay lately. Pull that up. This will work the same way. Start with the guitar. Down here, toss the delay on there. So one last thing I want to do real quick is show you basically a bypass, what it sounds like with and without these sends and these plugins working together. So I'm just going to use the electric guitars, for example, because I have a delay and reverb on both of them. And I'm just going to turn the sends on and off so you can hear the difference doing it this way makes. You can start to hear that room, that imaginary room you're making. So you can hear it pretty clearly there. You can easily go overboard doing this way. I like to have it pretty tame because a little bit of tame on all the tracks equals probably somewhere in the pocket of what you need to do. Anyway, hope you found this useful. Hope you found this informative. If you did, please comment below. If you have any other questions, please comment below. I think I'm gonna keep this song and this track kind of in this form so I can then maybe show you other techniques that I like to use when mixing. By no means do I think I'm a master mixer, but it's gotten me by decently so far. So maybe there's something you can learn from the way I do it. So please like this video and subscribe to the channel. And until next time, see you later.